Big news in RuneScape today as Jagex announced the Rex Matriarch update, which is coming to RuneScape 3 on Monday, March 8th. Next week, it's coming up soon. There are a total of 3 mid-level bosses that are coming to the game. They described it as a mid-tier boss with the idea being around the skill and chill mantra, not as much as Raksha. They said that if you can do God Wars Dungeon 2, you probably have the gear and ability to be able to do this boss, maybe not solo, but with a group of 2 or 3 people. In Mod Orion's own words, November 15th was the 15th anniversary of the Daganoth King's update, and this is a spiritual successor to the DKs. For those of you that don't know the DKs, they are a group of bosses where there are 3 kings that you kill at once. They are mainly killed with the combat style that they are weak to. For example, Dagannoth Rex is a melee king, so you would kill it with magic weapons. These Matriarch will follow the same pattern, though they won't have 100% immunity against the other styles and only be weaker to the preferred style to kill them. I imagine that you would still want to hybrid, but we'll have to see exactly how the defense and affinity of the bosses work out. The melee matriarch is Orichalca. She is colored red as that's the color of the Orichalca metal which she is covered in. The range matriarch is Rathis. She is colored green, which represents the range style. And the mage matriarch is Fentraken, cool ass name by the way, covered in lightning, and the translation means something along the lines of sorcery or magic. It works just like the DKs where you can do it solo or you can mass it. So it's way more accessible than something like Raksha, which is great for the mid-level player base. You can learn in a large group, and as you get better, you can go down to solo if you want for what will probably be the optimal way to kill them for GP per hour or pets or all that sort of stuff. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the rewards, the fun part. There are 5 new unique items from the bosses, and 4 of them harken back to the original Daggonoth Kings, where they upgrade the original ring that we got from them. The first ring is the Warrior Ring, which gets upgraded to the Champion Ring by using the Heart of the Warrior on it. It upgrades the ring in the following ways. It has a plus 30 style bonus now, which is higher than the plus 17 than the original Warrior Ring, and I think is the best ring in the game for style bonus. Then it has a plus 5 prayer bonus, and there originally was no prayer bonus on the Warrior Ring, so it's a direct upgrade. And then it has a special effect where there's a 3% crit rate while they have a bleed on them. In group PVM, this ring has some good uses, as pretty much all of the time you are attacking, they will have some sort of bleed on them, whether it's a dismember, a combust, corruption shot, all those things will always be on there. It also synergizes very well with the melee style, as with a Masterwork Spear of Annihilation, you can make your Dismember last 10 hits, and by the time the 10 hits of Dismember have gone through, you basically have your cooldown of Dismember back. The next ring is the Archer's Ring, which gets upgraded to the Stalker Ring. It has the same stats as the Champion Ring, but for range. Its special effect is that you get a plus 3% crit rate while you are wielding a bow. This is an attempt to make bows better in comparison with crossbows, as Backcriminal Bolts are that good. This won't do enough, and I don't see it taking over the meta except for some niche uses with a Hex Hunter bow. The third ring is the Sears Ring, which gets upgraded to the Channeler's Ring. It has the same stats as the previous 2 rings, but for mage. Its special effect is that for each strike of a channeled ability, you gain 4% critical strike chance on the next hit. This is a really cool concept, as channeled abilities are usually not used very well because they interrupt 4 ticking. There is some cool synergy with Concentrated Blast, where each hit adds plus 5% critical hit chance natively, so when you combine these 2 things together, you get 9% on the first hit, 18% on the second, and 27% on the third. I'm not sure how much this ring will be used, as I doubt it makes mage good enough to be using where range and melee are that much better. The fourth ring is the Berserker Ring, which gets upgraded to the Reaver's Ring. It has plus 27 style bonus in all 3 styles, making it the Hybrid Ring. It has the same style bonus as the current best in slot ring, the Ring of Death, at plus 27. It gives you a 5% critical strike buff, but it has a downside as it costs you 5% of your accuracy. This ring will be best in slot anywhere that you currently have 100% accuracy with the ring still equipped. I personally would love to use this ring at Solak, as it feels like it's designed for it. You hybrid there, you have 100% accuracy, and you use the Grimoire for free, so it synergizes well with the extra crits. However, using the Reaver's Ring at Solak brings up a big problem: death costs. Death costs are insane, and if you're bringing all this gear, you're paying 8 to 9 mil plus per death, and the only thing that saves you from losing money in a bad hour is the Ring of Death. Until they do something about death cost, very few people will want to use these rings at any sort of dangerous content. These rings are good, but they are unable to compete with saving 10 mil per death, even if they provide a large DPS increase. Me personally, I just die way too often. All 4 of these rings are untradeable when made, but the individual parts to make them are tradable. So if you make the ring, it's now bound to you and cannot be reverted. These personal binds are a great way to keep content valuable as it acts as a sink for the ring parts, and it's also good for the player as it feels like you accomplished something, especially on a main account which doesn't have that natural binding of gear. The last item that is being released is a high damage, low accuracy halberd, Lanikia's Spear. It has T90 damage, meaning it does as much damage as a Nox Scythe, but it only has T75 accuracy, meaning it is as accurate as a Saradomin Godsword. On top of that, it also has a special effect where poison damage does 5% more, and a secondary effect where it has a 5% chance of inflicting poison when using some form of weapon poison. This feels like it'll fall into a cheap Slayer alternative to the Nox Scythe or Dragon Rider Lance, where you can use it when the accuracy isn't needed, kind of like a Masuda's War Spear but better. This weapon is made up of 4 parts and each of the parts are tradable, and so is the final weapon, kind of like the Eldritch Crossbow. For those of you that can't afford a Nox Scythe, you could buy a Dragon Rider Lance and this new Lanikia's Spear, and you use the Dragon Rider Lance on the high accuracy task, and then you use Lanikia's Spear on the low accuracy task. One more tidbit of information that I want to cover is that dinosaur tasks work here, and the Slayer Helm buff is so good at 15% accuracy and damage. So if you want to camp this on release, make sure you stock up on a ton of Slayer points to skip for Dino tasks. Reaper tasks are also available and they start getting assigned to you once you have 105 combat. Sunday night, don't get a Reaper until you log in on Monday morning after the update. I'll be there on Monday getting as many kills as I can and hopefully bringing a guide and a loot video as soon as I can. Take care and I'll catch you in the next one.